Welcome back, MTN Nets podcast, reacting to this Nets win over the Clippers, first home win of the year. A lot of mixed emotions here because unfortunately Cam Thomas left the game with a sprained left ankle. Those usually take at least a couple weeks. And we know how great Cam Thomas has been this year. Just had 40 points last game in that Milwaukee close loss. But even this game, he was getting off to a great start. So it's a shame. It sucks. This team literally feels cursed anytime something good is happening for this team. It just gets taken away from us. I think we know about that by now. But on the bright side, the Nets do get this win 100-93. This is a pretty low scoring game for today's NBA. But a really good team win. I mean, they're up and down the roster. It feels like everybody contributed to this win. The Clippers obviously have a lot of newness to them, but that is a really good team on paper. So any win's impressive in this league, and I think this one's pretty impressive as well. It was pretty sloppy at times, a lot of stupid turnovers. Harden threw a pass to Ian Eagle, who was broadcasting the game. So a pretty entertaining, a funny game. Ended nicely for Brooklyn, but of course the Cam Thomas thing really just I don't know. You can't fully enjoy it because he's probably our best player and he's the most entertaining guy to watch right now. So it sucks, and hopefully he recovers as soon as possible. But of course, leave a like and let's get into it. So this one didn't start out too pretty. The Nets only had 13 points in the first quarter, and they were really struggling to get any type of offense. It felt like in that first quarter, anytime they drove to the basket, they were getting ripped, getting stripped, and turnovers and just every bad thing imaginable. Even some of their points were balls that were fumbled, they would just pick up and make their shots. But it was just a very ugly first quarter in terms of their offensive possessions. Luckily, the Clippers kind of beat themselves tonight in some areas. Like shooting wise, they only shot 22% from three, 8 for 36. Turnover-wise, the Clippers had 16, which is a pretty good amount. So the Nets had 14, so 2 less. But it did feel like the Clippers did beat themselves in a lot of ways, and they definitely could have pulled away with this game at some point in the second quarter, but they couldn't do it. And really, that I got to give a shout-out to the Nets. I mean, they keep fighting, even with Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton, Ben Simmons, Cam Thomas for half the game. All those guys missing. And they're out here fighting with Trendon Watford and Day'Ron Sharpe and Dennis Smith Jr. Lonnie Walker's been incredible. All these guys stepped up and they got this game. They won their first game, got back to 500. Well, first home game, I meant to say. But yeah, it's a great team win. So let's go up and down the team and see who played well today, what happened. Finney Smith, after a very not so good a game versus Milwaukee, probably his first bad game of the year. He bounced back pretty nicely. Shot 4 of 8 from 3, had 9 rebounds, some big rebounds in this game, 3 blocks. That was great to see. Had 12 points overall, was a +4. Royce O'Neal was also 4 of 8 from 3. He was just on fire in the first half. I think early second quarter, he was knocking down back-to-back threes. He had 1 3 taken off the board because I think it was Dennis Smith Jr. had an offensive foul on Zubac right before that shot was taken, so that was unfortunate. But and that's another thing. The refs were, not that call in particular, but the refs were pretty brutal for a few moments in this game. I mean, there were 2 plays where Mikal Bridges, who rarely ever gets mad at refs, I've never seen it in I don't know how many games Mikal's been in net by now, but I just don't see it very often. Mikal Bridges told the ref to wake the fuck up because he missed the call. And you never see Mikal Bridges do that. Even Spencer Dinwiddie, who of course he's a guy who will complain to refs a lot, but he was slapped on the arm as well. No call for either him or Mikal Bridges. So 2 missed calls, and it happened within a 2-minute span. So it just really crappy officiating there. There was something else too. Even that Russell Westbrook late play, he had a drive and the ball hit off him, went out of bounds, and they called it as Clippers ball. So just stuff like that. But I think there was another call I'm forgetting that was pretty bad too. But anyway, Royce O'Neal, he was pretty good tonight. 10 rebounds, shot the ball well. He had 3 blocks as well, so that was great to see. I feel like he played good defense for the most part in this one. A lot of guys played good defense tonight, and of course, some of that is with the Clippers missing shots that they probably should have made. Mikal Bridges was 4 of 11. He has not shot the ball too efficiently this year, but his one made three-pointer was a big three-pointer to go back up by 10 when the Clippers started making the game closer in like the middle of the fourth quarter. So a clutch play there. He had that clutch putback. It wasn't a dunk. It was a weird play. The Nets were up, I think, by 4 or 6. Getting late in the fourth quarter, probably 4 or 5 minutes left, and Mikal Bridges had that putback after Dorian Finney-Smith missed that straight-on three-pointer. So a nice play by him there. But yeah, Mikal was fine. I mean, no dumb turnovers, I don't think, for him. He did have 3, right? I can't remember any dumb turnovers, though. But, Bridges had some bad moments this year with turnovers, but I feel like this game was not too bad. Only 10 points. It really feels like more. He did contribute with 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. He really filled up the stat sheet. But, of course, with a guy like Mikal Bridges, you would like to see him score, over 20 points. Now, with Cam Thomas gone, he's going to have to really step up the scoring. We're going to have to see the same Mikal Bridges that we saw down the stretch of last year where he's scoring 22, 23 points per game. His stat line was pretty nice tonight, not the efficiency, but like the blocks, the steals, the assists, all that stuff. But 10 points is not enough for Mikal Bridges if Cam Thomas is out for an extended period of time. And here's a guy who has to step up again is Spencer Dinwiddie. He had 26 minutes tonight. He made a big three-pointer to make it 97-90. Kind of the dagger. I felt very good after that shot about our chances of winning this game. So a big shot by Spencer to make it 97-90 late in this game. Only 7 points. He shot 2 of 8 overall, 2 of 7 from 3, 1 of 2 at the line. He had 3 rebounds, 4 assists. So it was a good move by Jacque Vaughn to put him back in the game late. I think they need that veteran leadership, that ball handler, because, my God, I don't want to see Royce O'Neal or Dorian Finney-Smith as our point guard late in the game. I just don't want to see it. So to bring in Dinwiddie, definitely the right move, especially with Cam Thomas out once again. So it was good to see Spencer in there and closing out the game, making a big shot. And he's a guy as well, along with Mikal Bridges. And really everybody has to step up now. But he's another guy, Dinwiddie, that has to step up and make his shots now that Cam Thomas is going to be out for a bit. Here's Cam Thomas. He was 6 of 14, 0 of 2 from 3. He did make that one shot where his toe was on the line, which always gives me PTSD as a Nets fan, but his toe was on the line. They called it a two-pointer. It was the right call. Shot it right in James Harden's face. But Cam was he was pretty good. I mean, did have 2 pretty bad turnovers, but as I said, the Clippers were really good with just getting their hands in passing lanes and stripping the ball away from guys. Like, they were playing great defense in the first half, not so much in the second half, but the Clippers defense came out playing really well. But yeah, Cam Thomas, it's a shame. It really sucks. He is the guy I look forward to watching the most on this team now, and see him out for a bit. It's really crappy. I saw even Tyler Hero turn his ankle tonight, who was off to a great start this year for the Heat. So just crappy situation. You hate to see it. With all the injuries this team has had this year, it's like it's just piling up at this point. You know what I mean? Like, so many guys that are key contributors are just out right now, and pretty much they have 4 starters out. Like, if everyone's healthy, Cam Johnson's a starter, Ben Simmons is a starter, Nick Claxton's a starter, Cam Thomas is a starter. So 4 guys, 4 out of the 5 starters are out. Of course, the Iron Man, Mikal Bridges, is the one left standing, but just it sucks. And speaking of the Bucks series, I brought that up, the PTSD thing. It's pretty funny how, like, the guy who turns Cam Thomas's ankle, it wasn't like it was his fault. It wasn't like a Giannis situation on Kyrie, but it's pretty ironic how the guy who, Cam Thomas stepped on was PJ Tucker, who of course was a big part of that Bucks team that year. But anyway, Trendon Watford had 19 minutes. He played well. Trendon Watford came in, made a three-pointer when he first came in the game. He had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. He had a really crazy sequence in the early fourth quarter. It may have been the first play of the fourth quarter where I think it was him who got the steal on James Harden. Then he threw a turnover, and then the Clippers turned the ball over 2 seconds later. It led to that and one by Day'Ron Sharpe, who we'll get to in a bit. He was so up and down today, a complete roller coaster. But Trendon Watford is a really good energy piece off the bench. He also had a poster dunk on PJ Tucker. It was called an offensive foul. Jacque Vaughn tried to challenge it, and unfortunately it was, the call stood. So an offensive foul, but, it was one of those like 50-50 type calls. It just, I don't think, like, I get that if a guy has 2 feet planted and he's, falls backwards on contact, it's going to be a charge like 9 times out of 10. But it's not like Trendon Watford like extended his arm or anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. But it was cool to see that. I think it really got the bench hyped up there. So Trendon Watford, a really good like energy game for him. He brought a lot to the team tonight, and he's a guy. If Ben Simmons misses time with this hip, he'll definitely get some minutes out there. So. And I tweeted this before too, or I posted this on X. I gotta get that right. I keep saying tweet, but yeah, I posted this before. I basically said, like, why can't Ben Simmons drive to the basket like Trendon Watford does? Now, it's a crazy sentence if you think about me saying that. Like, why can't our $40 million player drive to the basket like our veteran minimum player? It's a crazy sentence, but it's true. Like, Ben Simmons is coming off a 3-point game versus the Bucks. I know they have Brook Lopez, they have Giannis, blah, blah, blah. But, like, man, you got to score more than that. And I feel like Trendon Watford just has like this I don't give a damn type attitude going to the rim. If he goes to the line, he's fine with it. If he has to dunk over a guy, he's fine with it. If he has to make that floater, he's fine with it. Like, why can't Ben Simmons do what Trendon Watford does when going to the basket? It's sad to ask that question, but like, I have to ask it. Like, I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm like kind of annoyed with Ben Simmons. Like, yes, he's helping the team. He's been a positive this year, but he's another guy. With Cam Thomas out, you can't be averaging 3 or 4 points in a game. You just can't do it, Ben Simmons. I'm not asking for 15 or 20. Give me like 8 to 10 points a game. I'm not asking for the world here, but Ben Simmons can't be out there looking for, 2 or 3 shots a game, 2 or 3 points in a game. It has to be better. So drive to the basket, stop being afraid of the free throw line, stop being afraid of the basket. It's just, it's tough to watch at this point. Like, I think he looks better. I do. I think physically Ben Simmons looks a lot better this year. It's very easy to tell. He's played really good defense. He's one of the best rebounders in the NBA this year. I think he's like ranked 11th or something in the NBA in rebounds per game. But the scoring, you can't be a zero scoring wise. You can't bring nothing to the table. He's like a PJ Tucker. You can't do that, Ben Simmons. PJ Tucker, he does make a good amount, PJ Tucker, but, whether there was collusion there with the Sixers or not, but, still, you can't bring nothing to the table as a scorer. Anyway, Day'Ron Sharpe, the young center, just turned 22 a few days ago. I think it was Monday was his birthday. And he started out this game so embarrassing. I wanted him benched right away. And I'm pretty tough on Day'Ron, I'm not going to lie. Like, he pisses me off the most probably of any player on this team. And you can see why. Like, I think he tried that move where he either went behind the back or something. He lost the ball. He had another play where he couldn't grab the ball because, of course, his hands are very, butterfingers, whatever you want to say. Like, he just has a tough time grasping the ball sometimes. And, he just had great moments in this game and moments where he looked like he didn't belong in the NBA. So Day'Ron Sharpe had a very up and down game. Overall, he was 4 of 9, made all 3 of his foul shots. That was big. 4 offensive rebounds, 9 rebounds total in 19 minutes. He had 2 steals. He had no blocks, 2 turnovers, but yeah, like 2 turnovers for a center. Like, I can't have that. Like, come on. Like, some of these plays by him were so stupid, and he came in right away, made 2 or 3 horrible plays when he first came in the game. He made a really stupid play in the early 4th quarter. I forget what it was now, but something else with him that drove me crazy. So if Day'Ron finds consistency, he could be a really good rotation player. I don't think Day'Ron's ever going to be like a 20 and 10 type guy. I don't see that being the outcome with him, but like, he has decent touch. He has a decent jump shot. He's really good at tracking the ball off the rim. Like, he knows where a ball is going to be. There's just guys, like, not that I was not an incredible basketball player by any means, but I felt like when I played, like, I always had a good idea of where the ball was going to be coming off the rim. Like, some guys just track the ball well, so that's like one of the few things I can compliment myself on, even being 5'9" like I am. But for Day'Ron, like, I feel like he's kind of similar in that way. Like, he can track where the ball is, how it's going to come off the rim, and he's always in the right spot to grab it. He had some very impressive rebounds tonight. And I think they said that last game on the broadcast, how Day'Ron just has a really good feel for how the ball is going to just come off the rim, where to be, leverage with his body, boxing his guy out. Like, he's good at that stuff. So I definitely have to give him a shout out for that. Dennis Smith Jr. played 25 minutes. That's definitely not light. That's 25 minutes for Dennis Smith Jr. He had 5 assists. He had 2 steals. He had a great steal on James Harden, which led to that Day'Ron Sharpe and one. He did a really good job on Harden, by the way, in like the early fourth quarter. He had a steal on Harden, I think, early in the fourth quarter, and he was like full court pressing him. He created a turnover, and that led to the Day'Ron Sharpe and one. Smith was over 3 on 3-pointers. I mean, his jump shot looks so bad sometimes. He took one jumper from like the left elbow, and he just basically bricked the hell out of it. Like, it almost got like wedgied between the rim and the backboard. So like, I love Dennis Smith Jr.'s energy. He had his first dunk as a net tonight, I believe, and it was a really nice dunk. But the jump shot, man, it's got to be better. It's probably like the worst thing about Dennis Smith. Like, he ran the offense okay. Like, when he was point guard, he was fine, but that jump shot can really be like detrimental to this team. And I feel like every time he shoots the ball, it's just like, man, like, please don't shoot. And sometimes it works. I feel like in the first game of the year, he made a big corner 3. He may have had one last game. Like, he every few games or so, he'll make a big 3, but like, it's still not consistent. And I just wished I was a part of his game that was just better. Lonnie Walker, the 4th, incredible game. He stepped up big time after Cam Thomas went out, made a couple 3s right away after the ankle injury. 28 minutes. 8 of 16 from the field. 8 of 6 would be pretty damn good. Oh, too bad it's not possible. 3 of 7 from 3, 2 of 2 at the line. Didn't do much else, really. 1 rebound, 1 steal, 1 block. But he was awesome. He was a plus 10. Just a guy who was the microwave scorer off the bench, and this team needs it. Like, I don't know if he'll be starting with Cam Thomas out, but you can make the argument that that Lonnie Walker deserves to start with Cam Thomas out. Like, I don't hate that at all. He's been great off the bench. Maybe you don't want to mess with that, but I feel like with Cam Thomas's scoring out of the lineup, this is the guy who has to step up, Lonnie Walker. Like, he filled in perfectly tonight. They don't win this game probably without Lonnie Walker. I got to be honest. Like, his 21 points were the difference in this game. If you replace that with some other scrub who is putting up 5 points, you're probably not winning this game. So Lonnie Walker was probably the player of the game. Like, he was awesome. So if he can keep this up, that'd be great. He has scored double-digit points in every game he's played in this year. He was still inexcusably a coach's DMP on opening night, which probably cost him that loss, honestly, to the Cavs. But it's in the past. But anyway, yeah, maybe he starts going forward. But whether it's starting or off the bench, he's probably one of the best scorers on this team, and hopefully that continues. I hope this is not just like a fluke. I hope this is really what Lonnie Walker can be for this team this year. Maybe not 21 a night, but, at least double digits every night. That'd be great. So nice to have him. Such a great signing by Sean Marks, who, Sean Marks' signings continue to look really good, whether it's, Lonnie Walker or Trendon Watford. The draft pick of Cam Thomas looks phenomenal. So, got to give Sean Marks some credit. He was a guy I was very tough on the past few years, but, he's had a great offseason. Even Armoni Brooks, he had a great game versus the Heat, the Miami game? I think it was. The game in Miami. He was awesome. So, so far those signings are working out. We have still not seen Harry Giles yet. I want to see him, but not yet. But let's go through some of the team stats. I mentioned that the Clippers only shot 22% from 3. Clippers were 13 of 13 at the line. Nets were 11 for 13. Offensive rebounds, Nets had 3 more, 14 to 11. Total rebounds, it was 48-51. Clippers had the advantage there. But I feel like there wasn't any like really bad moments where the Nets couldn't grab a board. It wasn't like the Bucks game where Giannis had that missed 3 and Lopez tapped it out and Giannis got the same shot and made it. It wasn't like that kind of situation. Like, nothing bad like that happened tonight, but I just feel like the Clippers had Zubac and we didn't. Like, it is what it is. He's the biggest guy on the floor. Same amount of assists, 22 apiece for each team. Same amount of steals, 10 apiece for each team. Nets had 2 more blocks, a lot of blocks in this game. I think DFS and Royce combined for 8 blocks by themselves, or 6, so that was pretty fun. Nets had 2 less turnovers. Nets had 1 more point on fast breaks. The Clippers had 14 more points in the paint. I mentioned Zubac. He was a pretty big piece of that, of course, when he was, getting his dunks and his easy putbacks and whatnot. But yeah, Nets had a 10-point lead, was their largest lead. I think it was 100-90, so pretty much at the end of the game. And the Clippers had a largest lead of 8, which I believe was in the second quarter. So the Clippers had their chance to put this game away. They didn't do it, so it is what it is. I got to give the Nets a lot of credit for fighting, getting back to 500 this year, making it 4-4 on the year. I believe we're at Boston on Friday, which I think is the play-in tournament. We know how great Boston is. They're coming off now 2 straight losses. I believe they lost to the Sixers tonight. So Boston's going to be hungry for a win. We are very shorthanded. There's a chance that Cam Johnson's back. He was doubtful today, so maybe if he progresses well the next 2 days, he's playing on Friday, but I wouldn't bank on it. I would honestly lean more towards the Nets it is the play-in tournament. I don't know how much they care about it or not, but maybe this is the game where they give some guys some rest. Obviously Mikal Bridges won't be resting, but maybe they give Royce or DFS a night off or something, because your chances of beating the Celtics in Boston coming off 2 straight losses, it's pretty slim given all the injuries. If we were fully healthy, I'd say yeah, go for it, but with all the injuries, Cam out, Clax out, probably Cam Johnson out, Ben Simmons is iffy. At that point, you're probably not going to win. Hate to be a Debbie Downer, but I try to be realistic about my teams. So, but even if they get to 4-5, I feel like the schedule gets a little easier after that. So it's nice to get this win. I want to see what their schedule is going forward. Let's take a look real quick, if I can pull this up. As I mentioned, at Boston on Friday. Was that the last tough game? Yeah, it kind of gets easy after that. So Sunday is home versus Washington, then home versus Orlando, at Miami, home versus the Sixers, at Atlanta, home versus the Heat, home versus the Bulls, home versus the Raptors, home versus the Hornets, and then home versus the Orlando Magic. Then they have that 9-day break due to the tournament. So it's like a mini All-Star break in a way. Or is it even a mini All-Star? How long is the All-Star break? I feel like it's also 9 days or so. I don't know. It's a pretty big break there. December 2nd to December 11th. That's a pretty decent sized break there. So we got 10 games or so until that break happens. Maybe 11, 12, I ain't counting, but something like that. So yeah, hopefully this team can be around 500, maybe a couple games over 500 by the time that break happens, and we can get our team fully healthy for the first time, because after that tournament championship, there's going to be a tough road trip, an entire West Coast trip: Sacramento, Phoenix, Denver, Golden State, Utah. So 5 very tough road games out the gate there. So I want to get to the mini All-Star break about 500, hopefully a couple games over, and take it from there. But we'll see what happens on Friday. Hope for the best. They're on national TV. It's ESPN, so I hope it's not an embarrassment, but we'll see what happens. But a good win tonight. It was fun to watch. Sucks watching Cam get hurt, but hopefully he recovers quickly. And I'll talk to you guys next time.